Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Ajayi Enigma. Welcome to English Lessons with Enigma. So today we are going to be talking about narrative and other types of essay. It's going to be a series, and then I will teach you how to write an essay. So first off, narrative essays are more than other type of essays in SSC English. It gives the students the opportunity to think and write about themselves. Narrative essays give students opportunity to think and write about themselves. When you write a narrative essay, you are telling a story. This story should be told from either your point of view or the point of view of another person. And now, telling the story from your point of view is usually more engaging than telling it from the point of view of another person. Because when you tell the story from your point of view, the reader can relate and then they know what you're talking about. So when you write a narrative essay, you discover that it speaks to a lot of things. It speaks to reality, it speaks to your imaginative power. So when you're writing a narrative essay, there are certain things that you need to do. Now we say that a narrative essay is an essay that tells a story and it can be told from your point of view or from the point of view of another person. But I love to say that it is essential that as a student you tell your story from your perspective. So let's look at the useful hints on how to write a good narrative essay. Number one is remember to involve readers in the story. It is much more interesting to actually recreate an incident for readers than to simply tell about it. So when you are writing, you involve your readers in your story, you carry them along, you try to recreate an incident that you've witnessed or an event in your story. So the next one is your stories should support the suggested idea in the question asked. When you are giving a story, your story should suggest the ideas in the question asked. So do not tell a rambling tale or do not rigmarole in your story. Your story should be told using the right adjective. Now, another point is remember that although the main component of a narrative essay is the story, details must be carefully selected to support, to explain, and enhance the story. Now, like I was saying the other time, when you write a narrative story, you can tell the story from your point of view, from the point of view of another person. So let's look at some conventions within the scope. We'll look at some conventions within the scope of the narrative essay, some conventions. Uh, the following conventions for me are very important. So narrative essays are generally in the first person, that is using I. Uh, when you write or tell your story, use the personal pronoun I. However, the third person he, she, or it can also be used. So narrative essays rely on concrete and sensory details to convey your point. So when I mean telling your story with concrete narrate, narratives rely on concrete and sensory details. I mean carry an impression of believability when you write. So narrative as stories should include the normal story convention like the plot, the setting, the characters, the climate, and ending. So basically, every essay must have introduction, the body, and the conclusion. So when you're writing your narrative essay, you must have the plot, setting, character, climate, and ending. Then um, your content must narrate events that are believable, credible, and possible. And then you should make your story to appear true or real. Then you are expected to narrate the events that are relevant to the topic that you have been given. Narrative essays are written in the past tense. So be concerned with the incident or event, the person involved, the place, the time. And so when you write your narrative essay in terms of organization, your opening paragraph must be lively. It must be lively, and then all other paragraphs must also be interesting. and equally that of your concluding paragraph. So your paragraph should be well developed and well linked. You'll be awarded a good mark if you could present your ideas in a chronological order based on the sequence of the events. So you should express yourself in informal language, use a mixture of short and long sentences. The past tense is the normal tense in the narrative essay. And then your tense should be in the past tense, past progressive aspect, and past perfective aspect. Then your language should have a clarity, should have a quality of a first-hand experience and reflect your awareness of the presence of your audience. So these are just the uh, simple tips on how to go about with your narrative essay.